Welcome back to No Thy Shelves. I'm Michelle.
I'm Rachel.
So I'm going to assume you haven't read anything besides podcast book.
No.
Okay.
Sure haven't.
Okay, I'm going to go with what I've read. It's only been 4 books, so not too bad. 3 of them are manga, so judgment. Anyways. So I picked up Magical Girl Dandelion, Volume 1 and 2. Chef's Kiss, they're amazing. It's about a girl that turns into a magical girl and defeats evil, and her best friend is one of the evil ones per se, and they make a good team. It's so cute. I love it. I finally finished Solo Leveling Volume 9. It took me forever to find it. So when I found it, I was like, and then I just let it sit on the shelf.
That's a very book girl thing.
Yes, yeah. I was like, okay. So I finally read it. And then I read Midnight Message by, is it, how do you say her name? Avena St. Graves?
I'm not sure. We're going to have to look it up.
It was a 4.5. It was amazing. That's all I'm going to say about it. Because we might read it later. Okay, other than that, that's all I read.
I have not read anything. I did watch RM read for 6 minutes. So there's that.
Did he give you a synopsis of what he read?
No.
Oh.
It was literally like, listen. It's Festa right now. So it's leading up to June 13th, which is the day that they debuted 13 years ago.
Okay, that's cool.
So random things have been
just
dropping.
Okay.
And one of those things was like normal vlogs of what they normally do. And all of them were 6 minutes and 13 seconds.
Is there a significance to that?
6/13 is the day they debuted.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Gotta put 2 and 2 together, but yeah, okay.
So it was 6 minutes of just RM reading, which it could have been an hour, and I would have just sat there and like, okay, get my book. I'm reading with RM.
That's, fair enough. If you, people watch people sleep, so.
I wouldn't
No
go that far.
Judgment. You would if they did it.
No.
We all know. No. Is that where you draw the line?
Yeah. Sleeping.
I mean, it depends on if they're cute or not.
I mean, all of them are cute.
Yeah, but are they cuter when they sleep?
I don't know.
You will never know. Shameful. Anyway. Okay, do you want to get into the podcast book?
So, our podcast book is Devil's Creek by Todd Keisling.
Yes.
And my copy is signed because I'm a nerd. And I met him.
There's nothing nerdy about that. Kind of. Not really.
So let's get thee to a church, heathen. Which is oddly appropriate, but...
Yes. Yeah. I was wondering why, because you've mentioned that before, and I was like, okay, well, what does that do with the church? Context clues, Michelle.
Also, both of our names are in this book.
I don't remember my name being
It was like a one-off character.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah. I did remember seeing your name, and I'm like, she was just complaining that there is no book with her name in it. And see? You shall. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to take your hand at a super short summary?
Yeah. So, this book is about the Stallford Six, who were in a death cult, a religious cult, that their father tried to sacrifice them to his god.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Basically.
Yes. Yep. I'm only going to tag on a little bit, is that happened 30 years ago, and he has come back.
From the dead, yes.
Yes, so with the Stanford Six helping. Very loosely.
Only a couple of them really helped.
Yeah, I mean, they played on both sides. So,
there's a lot of characters in this book. I'm sorry.
Yeah, so many characters.
Because basically you're following this town.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Like, so kind of, like, I thought it was really interesting because it opened with the grandparents of the kids that were going to be sacrificed. And so that was kind of interesting, the backstory, because it was in 1983 is when it technically first took place.
Yes.
And then 30 years later, 2013, the comeuppance come back, I guess, basically. So it was kind of interesting to see how it started to...
Where it evolved to.
Yes, that was pretty interesting. So yes, I thought the the grandparents were important. Only one's really important.
I mean, they're kind of important.
They're all, yeah.
But we're mainly focused on the Stofford Six.
Yes. Yeah. Which, oddly, the story follows one of them who I would say had the most exposure to Jacob, which is Jack.
Yeah.
Because he left, obviously left Kentucky. I don't blame him. And so basically made his trauma into art.
Which is a good outlet for your trauma.
100%. And he always like dodged the question of like, how did you come up with your art? And he's like,
some things happened in my life.
Yes. And of course if he said it's from my memories, he would sound freaking crazy. So, but that was kind of nice to tie in too, because he didn't know for sure if it was memories or not.
Yeah. Because they were all very young when
Yes.
all this happened.
Yes. I would say 6-ish.
Yeah, I think they were...
I don't know if it ever tells you how old they were, but he was the one that was like forced into the hole first.
The sacrifice pit?
Yeah. Wait, let me back up there. Yes, the sacrificial pit in this church that opens up to the gateway to this shadow god creature.
Yeah. Pretty accurate.
Yeah, it's pretty accurate.
A god, but not in a, like a... It's more of a demon.
Yes. I would, yeah. Yes, you would consider more of a demon. So this book is, I would say, is religion focused, but it's not religion-y, if that makes sense. I only say that because, obviously, Jacob's Masters who is the founder of the Lord's Church of Holy Voices. Actually, it's founded by his father, but he was the one that was, I want to say went crazy for the god, but I think his dad...
And his dad was kind of crazy, too.
Yeah.
But he went full out.
Yes. 100% was like...
Full out cult time.
Yes, the old gods, the old-timey, like, church hymns. It was very much basic. They're living like the Amish with no electricity, very simple life. And he had a big following. I want to say...
Kind of like the People's Temple, if you know what that is. Which is Jim Jones. Drinking the Kool-Aid.
Oh, okay. I'm like, I probably should, but no. So, as of, like, in 1983, 57 cult members died in a mass suicide. That, in 1983. And Jacob was... He didn't commit suicide. He was killed, I want to say, by Jean, right?
Yeah.
Jeannie. Which is the grandmother of the main Stanford 6 character that we follow, whose name is Jack.
Trimley. Yeah.
Yes. So he's the one we mostly follow. There are a lot of different other POVs.
So our main POVs is Jack, for sure.
Yes.
Riley, which is a child of
Bobby
Tate, which is one of the 6. Stephanie, I think is actually where her.
Yeah, Stephanie. I think Jacob Masters is one of them.
Yes, he is.
And so is Jack's mom. Is that Laura?
Laura, yeah.
Laura. Chuck has a POV in there. I'm trying to remember. Jeannie
has has journal entries, and she has a POV.
Yes. Her lover, Dr. Tyler Booth, also has a POV. I know we're missing some, but yes. Stephanie,'s
Susan and Zeke.
Yep,
and
Susan and Zeke.
Ozzy,
yep.
Which is the sheriff.
Yes.
The kid that got his face hit with a lunch tray by Riley has a POV.
Oh, yeah. Yes. There's a lot. Yes.
But there's a lot of POVs, but it's not overwhelming. Because you feel like you're following that city. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You jump in, but the story is easy to follow.
Yes. Yeah, I would agree with that. It's very linear. There are some clear flashbacks, but I kind of like how the author kind of makes it apparent in the font that, like, this is what he's thinking. This was the flashback, and then it went back to his way he's thinking, and then it went back into the present. So it was very clear transition phase.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how it would be if you're reading or listening to the audiobook.
The audiobook was fine.
Okay.
Because...
It wasn't confusing.
No, because
okay.
There was, like, where they had, like, character breaks, it was almost like it was a chapter, like, they go, chapter, blah, blah, blah,
mm-hmm.
and then it'd go 1, and then it'd be somebody's POV, and then when it switched, it'd go 2, and then it'd go...
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay, so the audiobook wasn't too confusing then for that. Okay, that makes sense. I think, no, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There were 5 technically sections or parts to the book, which are broken down into, like, chapters and stuff. And then, of course, the name comes from Devil's Creek, which is where it's kind of located, basically, mm-hmm. in Kentucky. Anything you want to... Did we highlight everything before we kind of talk about the book itself?
Yeah, I think we're good.
Okay, cool. So, talking points. So, the foreword is by Ronnie Malfi, who is the author of Ghost Written, which we've actually read on the podcast.
Yep.
So that was kind of cool. I'm like, wait a minute.
I met them both at the same time.
Did you?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So that makes sense then. I gotcha. That's pretty cool. I said earlier, 57 cult members decided to commit mass suicide. I think technically only one lives, which is Jack's mom.
Yeah.
Out of the original
cult.
And Jacob is dead for now.
Yeah, for now.
For now.
In the beginning.
Yes.
He gets killed. And then he's dead for a little bit.
Yes. So this book actually hits on a lot of kind of taboo topics.
Yes, it does.
Very much so. I don't know if I want to go through them. Why not? So this was set in the 80s in Kentucky, which is a very Confederate state. I'm trying to how to word this. So there was a lot of, if you're an outsider, then you were very much shunned, no matter what that aspect was. If you were,
there's a lot of that in the Deep South.
Yes.
Still now.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. And it's just a cultural thing. I mean, if
Kentucky's not necessarily Deep South, but
yes, yeah, no, I got, yeah. So this book, I'm gonna hit the main highlight ones and then the ones that they talked about that didn't really affect the story itself. Mm-hmm. So obviously cults, church cults, which I think is different. There's a difference between a cult and a religious cult.
Yeah.
So I feel like it kind of hit on both.
But I love a cult book, so I don't know what that says about me.
Maybe not. So there was some child molestation going on. Obviously suicide. Bloodletting, which is also known as self-mutilation. Human sacrifice. Meth lab. So drugs. And incest. So out of my list, there was only one thing I really didn't mention that wasn't a part of the book itself, it wasn't important to the story itself, which was the KKK. They had a group that was there. They no longer obviously practice because it's kind of shunned upon. But it was mentioned a couple times. And so yes, that's a lot of very touchy, taboo subjects put in one big book. Okay?
And I'm just like, okay.
Yes.
But the thing is, to build that whole thing and to build a whole cult, there's going to be stuff like that's more taboo.
Yes.
Is the best way to put that.
No. It made sense in the book. I only say it just because a lot of people still struggle with the idea of our history.
Yeah.
And some people don't like to read about it, which is fine. But it's also kind of nice to see that he didn't shy away from taboo subjects because they're taboo.
Yeah.
I liked that because you don't... Usually when you see a book, it's about one specific taboo subject. This one had a ton of different ones, but it made sense as you were reading. Like, it made sense to why the cults followed Jacob. It made sense to how he had so many people under his thumb. The shadow god helped, of course. But I feel like the shadow god was more of like, whatever you desire or whatever you want in life is not wrong.
Yeah. And
there is some freedom in that. And that's why it made sense in the book. Like, you know, being a god, and especially being in Kentucky in that time period where a lot of things that were frowned upon in society.
Are still frowned upon.
Are still frowned upon, yes, you're right. It just made sense that Jacob, that's how he got a lot of people hooked on the idea.
Yeah. It also made it easier to be like, okay, well, he's definitely the villain. Or, like, these people are definitely, like, messed up a little bit to think that he is okay to follow. Or that God is what it is.
And we kind of saw that piece with Jack's grandmother. She stayed longer than she should have. She regretted staying, bringing her daughter into it. And so she's done everything she could from that night of the fire, because it ended in the shadow god basically forcing everyone to kill themselves.
Yeah.
Would be the best.
I think they were going to kill themselves anyways, but yeah.
Yes, and they kind of... There was an orgy, kind of, which makes sense to Jacob's God saying, you know, whatever your passion is, whatever you want in life, if you want to fuck your sister, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? So it made sense that they did all that, and then they kind of...
Yeah. Which is why this god is less of a god and more of, like, demon. It plays more on the darker side of things.
Yes.
Instead of, like, a god that's like, no, well, maybe not do that.
Yes. Yeah.
That's probably not the best thing to do.
No.
Especially, tying your boyfriend up and killing him just because.
There was definitely some, I guess technically torture should have been in there too.
Yeah.
But it made sense, and I think the author did it that way because it makes sense that you're growing up in a town where
it's very restricted religion-wise.
Yes. And to be able to have that freedom and say, you know, someone else telling you it's okay to do this is very powerful to someone like Jacob. And he was naturally charismatic, and people wanted to follow him, so it made sense that...
Which is normally what cult leaders are.
Yes,
100%. Most cults start out with good intentions.
Yes.
And then it evolves into something very bad.
Yes. And I honestly couldn't tell because it didn't really go into this piece of it. In the pit of another world, I'm going to say, because it kind of connects to this weird, like, shoreline underneath ground that doesn't make any sense, which...
It's the Starless Sea.
Yeah.
It's coming back for us.
It definitely had some eyeball seas there. But there was so many bones of old victims, and I'm like, okay, well, originally the Church of Lord Church of Holy Voices was originally founded in 1919. So are we supposed to take from that his father, Thurman Masters, did the same thing that Jacob did? Or are we supposed to gain that this has been going on for centuries?
I think it's more it's been going on for centuries. The god's been dormant under there, and then Jacob tapped into the god, and he's like, oh, okay.
That I couldn't suss that out, because I'm like, okay, well, has this been going on a lot longer than Jacob? And it kind of makes sense, because you feel the oldness of the god, I guess, because Jeannie consults, I'm going to tie this back to the book here, the Massachusetts University in Arkham, Massachusetts, where have we heard that before? H.P. Lovecraft. And it's a fictional place, and so she consults this professor of occult studies, and that's how she kind of gets a little bit more insight to the Nameless, which is his name, the Nameless?
Yeah.
The Nameless God. So I think we were supposed to take that from that, but that was so much later in the story. Like, I didn't make that connection.
I didn't make the connection to H.P. Lovecraft because we've only read 3 stories, and then that didn't end very well.
Yeah, no. I remember Arkham, so I had to look it up, and I'm like, I know I've heard this before, and then it was like H.P. Lovecraft. I'm like, oh,
well, you also
yeah.
heard Arkham from Arkham Asylum.
Yes. So I guess
tie that back to Batman.
Yes, Batman. But it was just kind of interesting because it kind of felt like Cthulhu-esque.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what he was trying to do.
I love, like, in horror books where there's, like, this creature that's not of this world, this otherworldly creature that's just fucking things up.
Oh, yeah. He definitely likes to meddle in some stuff, and he likes to play mind games. That's kind of his whole deal. If he can't get Jacobs to telepathically convince you, the guy's just going to take over and try to convince you in other ways. Like Bobby, which the pastor of the church in town, you saw a little bit of how he was fighting this infection. When Jacob comes back, he infects kind of the whole city.
The whole town, yeah.
Yeah. And so it was interesting to see that there was no escaping it. So once you're infected, like Bobby, he tried to fight it, and he's like, Riley, go, run, because he knew, I think he knew.
But it was, yeah.
Yeah.
He definitely knew, because he was one of the original 6, so he's like, okay, well, this is not good.
Yeah, he's seen it kind of before, even if they don't really remember it very clearly. So it was kind of interesting to see that he, was a man of God and fought the fight as much as he could. And then, of course, like, the God was like, here's your dead wife. Don't you want to bring her back? And speaks through her voice. And it's just like, what's the point? Like, you already are converting him. Like, he can't come back. Like, to me, that's just more of a...
So, it's more of a gathering of souls. So, you have... So, if he's not fully on board, you don't have his soul. So...
Okay. That makes sense.
Gods want your soul. Like,
right.
Gods or demons, regardless.
Yeah. Okay. That makes a little bit more sense. I was just like, why? Because I felt like it was just more torture. Because that was the God's whole thing. Will you suffer for me?
Yeah.
and it's just like he made his like survivors do some crazy stuff, like this went through a fucking wall of fire. You're like, yeah, woohoo! Like, what is going on? So that to me was kind of like, why? Like, you already got him, stop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I did really like the journal entries. I felt like it really tied back into why Jeannie's fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she tried to do everything she could to protect the babies, the Stanford Six. It comes out that they stole a whole bunch of money from the church.
Jacob's church, not the church
Yes,
in town.
yeah, sorry. Yes, Jacob's church. And they distributed, like, all the grandparents distributed amongst the kids.
Which is what should have happened anyways.
Yes, 100%. It made sense. Like, I honestly would have done the same thing if I was in their shoes.
Yeah.
Because otherwise just going to the state. Who cares? The kids went through a lot, okay?
Well, they're all technically his children.
Yes.
Biologically. So they might have got it somehow, some
yeah,
way.
they wouldn't have got all of it, though.
Yeah.
No. So it was kind of interesting to see that she took the mantle of being the outcast for Jake's sake.
Mm-hmm.
Or Jack's sake, I'm sorry. Because I was like, why are they ostracizing her? Why do they call her a witch? Because you didn't see that until, like, the last part of this book of what her true plan was. So on the night that Jacob in the whole fire happened, he cursed her.
He cursed all the grandparents.
Yes.
But she was the last living one.
Yes. And once they're gone, he will arise again. And so it was kind of interesting to see that she did all this research connected with these professors, and even her boyfriend per se was a professor. I don't remember if it was, I'm not sure what of. I assume something. Oh, Native American. Yeah, because it's somehow also a part of a Native American land.
Yeah. Kentucky has 2 or 3 different tribes.
Okay.
I don't know which ones they are. Kentucky and Tennessee both. So a lot of things there were their land before we took it over.
Another dark side of history, anyways. So I felt like, so she did everything in her power, and she became this so-called witch per se, which she basically just embraced Jacob's thought. How am I wanting to say this?
She took what Jacob was practicing and she turned it around on him so that way she could come back as well and save the town more, kind of the town, mainly the Stafford Six.
Yeah, mostly Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because she knew once she died that he would come back. So she did everything in her power to basically come back to life as well, kind of like Jacob. Hers was a different kind of pact with some, it's not the same god.
But it was using the same idol.
Yes, same like logic. Yes, the idol, the little statue, creepy thingy.
Little idol deity.
Yes, because she was able to channel the power through cleansing her body. Yes. So she came back and I wouldn't say she saved the day, but she saved the day.
She did what she needed to do.
Yes. Yeah, 100%. So that was kind of interesting. So as the reader, you get to witness like the hypocrisy, the racism, the bigotry.
Yep.
That breeds really fast in small towns. And he did a really good job of that because I'm going to say this, and it's probably going to be a little bit taboo, but I think everyone's life experience has dealt with some aspect of the taboo subjects in this book in some way.
And so, yeah.
So if you didn't really understand a certain aspect of, like, cults or the KKK. Like, you have dealt with something like, you know, drugs, self-mutilation. You know someone that's done something in this, so if you don't know, you can at least tie it back.
Yeah.
And I think he did a really great job of showing in a small town, if one person outcasts, it doesn't matter what you did, you're different.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
You're going to be an outcast regardless.
Yes.
And you see that with Jeannie and Riley, because Riley is kind of like the goth kid. He wears band t-shirts. His dad's the preacher, so that kind of contradicts that, but
yes. Yeah. Black nail polish, like,
yeah.
You know. So is Stephanie, though, too, because she plays the devil music.
The devil music.
Which is rock and roll, okay, guys? Just rock and roll. It's the devil's music.
It's the devil's music. But Stephanie made that choice for herself. She's like, okay, well, I'm going to, like, kind of rebel to a certain aspect and go, I'm going to do everything opposite of the church.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to play the devil's music. And Jack did that in a certain aspect, too. Because he's like, oh, well, I'm going to paint these very, like,
dark,
macabre, dark paintings. They're from my experience, but they're not necessarily, like, he didn't have to paint that.
Yeah, no. And he left, and Jeannie didn't really let him see that side that she got harassed. He only remembered one occasion where the KKK came to his house to try to scare them away. Mm-hmm. That was really the only big thing.
Yeah, because she kind of protected him from everything.
Yeah. And even in all this stuff, that she was dying of cancer, like, everything. So it was just, I think he did a really great job of showing that no matter what you've experienced is in this book.
Yeah. So
you can kind of at least feel kind of how, maybe not on the depth that the 6 felt, but you can kind of understand.
Mm-hmm. I love in this book where you follow the Stafford Six and you see how different each of them turned out. Because there's like Zeke, who is kind of a fuck up and he's cooking meth. Mm-hmm. Which this was his first time cooking meth, I think, but he was a drug dealer.
Yeah. I think
and then you have Susan, who's like a waitress, but she's also kind of like the gossip and like
the harlot of the town.
More trashy, I guess.
Yeah. That'd be more accurate.
And then Stephanie, who's channeled her trauma into being a radio DJ and having a restaurant and just like creative things, like pushing stuff out. Mm-hmm. Clint is not. No. Chuck is the lawyer of the town. He's decided, I'm just going to be a lawyer because why not?
Yeah.
And then Bobby's the preacher, so he did the opposite of what Jacob did. He's like, okay, I'm going to follow this true religion in his eyes as opposed to what Jacob was teaching.
Yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, Jack is the artist and, he got out of town.
Because why wouldn't you?
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, that was actually really interesting to kind of see that as well. Just to see how at least 2 out of the 4 didn't follow in their father's footsteps. Mm-hmm. So that was kind of like...
Well, Chuck and Bobby didn't necessarily... Well, Bobby kind of did because he's a preacher. Mm-hmm. But Chuck didn't... He kind of just got roped into everything.
Yeah. Poor Chuck. Yeah, but it was just it was just really interesting to see because how like you said, how they're different trauma. Well, it was kind of the same trauma because I think they all kind of got molested and did some things. Some like Susan, like relished in it. She liked the attention, even when as a small child. So seeing how that really messed up her adulthood and how it made her really vulnerable still to Jacob. And then Zeke kind of the same way, where he just couldn't get over his trauma at that point.
Yeah.
And that's why he was always kind of a messed up, drug dealer, outcast, but not as bad as Jeannie. And then, of course, you got the other ones that are at least trying to do what they want to do.
Mm-hmm. They're trying to build something and
Mm-hmm.
overcome their trauma in different ways.
Yes. Some good, some bad.
I don't think Susan and Zeke really overcame anything.
No.
They were living in their trauma, but not necessarily
outgrowing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you can definitely tell that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the author does a really great job of that in like the descriptions of how they're feeling, especially in their POVs. It was just really interesting to see how some just never grow.
Yeah. And that's just people for it.
Yeah. And, kind of thinking about, would that have changed if they didn't live in the town? If they would have all, got adopted outside of that city or town.
And they wouldn't have had the notoriety of being the Stallford Six.
Yeah. Because because they talked about it in the book in the beginning where the grandparents fought for 2 years to get custody of the grandkids.
Mm-hmm.
What would their life would have been if they would have just been adopted out of Kentucky, period.
Yeah, but they still would have held that trauma.
Yeah. But they wouldn't have been ostracized.
No.
They were, but they weren't. Especially Bobby, because obviously he was an upstanding citizen now. So it was just, I think of it in that fashion. What would have happened? Would they still have felt the pull?
To go. I don't think, well, besides Susan and Zeke, I don't think the other ones felt a pull to go back there. They definitely did not.
Yeah.
But Susan, I think she was... something in her brain didn't process.
Yes. Yeah. No. I only say the pool because Jack mentioned that he still sometimes sees the blue glowing eyes or still kind of thinks he hears Jacob. So I'm wondering if that would have still been, because he still said it in the book that he felt it even when he was away, but not as bad. Or at least that's how I took it.
So, I think they still all would have felt it. Because no matter what, if something very traumatic happens to you, there's still instances where it just, something in your brain just clicks and you just have a panic, you panic for a little bit.
Yeah.
Which happens to me and I try to rewire myself, but
yeah, no, I get it. It just, obviously they wouldn't be a story if they all just kind of left and never came back. I'm just wondering if that would have changed anything. Just because, who knows? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If would they've still gotten the money? Would they still been able to go, Chuck go to law school? Would Jack would have been to art school? Would their lives be completely different?
Yes, because if they don't have the money, or their grandparents pushing them towards whatever dream they had.
Yeah.
Because their grandparents basically was oh, I'm going to pay for this, and you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I don't think they would have been who they were if they were adopted out.
It's just interesting to think about.
Yeah.
So out of everyone from the town, only 3 survived.
Yeah. Only 3.
Oh, and that's not even including surrounding cities. Questionable, I'm not sure because it didn't talk about it. It talked about Stanford. And
I don't think any of the other cities were affected. Because I feel like this was a small town that's kind of rural.
Rural?
Nope.
Can't say it. Moving on.
Out of
the boonies.
In the middle of nowhere. And you just happen upon this town.
Mm. Because there was,
We both were nope. We're bye.
Not gonna try butchering anymore. Moving on. I don't... some more. At least talking points and stuff. Let's hear what else. I kind of liked, not gonna lie. So they talk about the hole in the ground, and the surrounding area just being void of anything, like no wind, no insects, no birds. Like it is like a dead zone.
Yeah, which also tells you it's not a good place.
You just don't go there. Like, you know.
Like if there's no animals or bugs, no. Mm-mm.
Well, there were bugs, but worms. Which is also, we didn't even highlight on the worms. Oh my god! That was probably the creepiest part of this book. Okay, real talk. So, the black sludge that is infected through ingestion. I didn't want to say it because it already sounds gross.
You're like spewing black
Dirt
muck.
And muck is a better term, thank you, yes. So it has, he does a really great job of describing the worms coming out of the nostrils, coming out of the eyeballs, like, oh, what is, wait.
This is a horror book.
Yes,
so like,
yes, 100%.
I kind of want, in my horror books, I want a little bit to be grossed out.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. It was just like, please stop coming out of the orifices. That's all I had.
Like, please, I need no more black puke muck.
I'm okay with, like, the vomiting and the spewing and the exorcist, like, vomit. Sure, go for it. But, like, it got in their mouth.
That's how they get infected.
It got in their mouth, Rachel. But yes. And so, like, you can visualize that really well. You could also almost smell the dirt. Mm-hmm. Like, the graveyard, like, you can just, like, it's such a distinct smell. And he described it really well. It's like, no, stop. Like, it puts you in the book, which is great for, like, any kind of book, no matter if it's horror or not. So yeah, that was kind of creepy. 100%.
It wasn't overly descriptive, but it was the right amount of descriptive to like put you inside the book.
Yes.
If you want to be or not. Like some parts I'm like, I don't need this scene.
Yes. But it tied it together. Like, I don't feel like there was
a scene that wasn't necessary.
Yes. But I do honestly feel like the first 10% is great for the backstory. The 30% in between, I could have done without.
Well, you gotta get the feel for all the kids.
Yes, and
which are adults now.
Yes, which I get, but it kind of was boring in that part.
Yeah, it slows a little bit and then it picks up real fast.
Yes, yeah, it's just that law of false security, which I really think that's what it was for. That false, like, oh, it's not gonna be a bad horror one, you know, it's a horror. You feel the horror-esque of it from the cult, the mass suicide of them, you know, everything that happened in the beginning. So I think he did it on purpose. He lulled you into this false sense of security, and then bam!
Yep.
We're going with the vomit and the people coming back from life, his mom escaping the psychiatric.
Kids getting kidnapped.
Yes, kids getting kidnapped. The church scene, like, whoo! Yeah, it hit you really hard. I was like, this is not the same book I just read 20 pages ago. Like,
but now you know why it had to be so thick. It had to be a little chunkier.
Yes, and I get why, but that part was like, I don't know these characters. I feel like it would have been better if he would have just got into it. And then...
But you gotta have a little bit of safety in a horror movie.
Yeah.
Until you get to, like, oh, we're in danger.
Yeah, it makes sense. It didn't make sense in the beginning, because I was like, Rachel, this is a boring book. But it makes sense. Talking it out, like, I get why now.
Yeah.
That, like, lull of, like, these are just all these kids and what they've gone and done. And I'm like, why do I care? Oh, I care now. I got it. Really tight and nice. And he does a really great job of, like, the breadcrumbs. Mm-hmm. Like, if you pick on some things, like, you're gonna know what's gonna happen. And I felt really accomplished when I did, but then, of course, I was like, I should have realized that, like, 3 chapters ago, you know?
My little detective brain is like, oh, this is gonna come back.
Yes. Yeah. 100%. But it wasn't necessary. Like, if you didn't pick them up, like, you didn't pick up the breadcrumbs, that was fine, too.
Yeah. Because it picks you
back
into
yeah,
it.
Yeah, it puts you back into it. My only question is, did they need 12 propane tanks for a lab? Like a meth lab? Is that normal?
I don't know what's normal for meth lab.
Why do you not know this, Rachel? I was like, because they took all of the propane tanks from the meth lab that happened to be on one of the
all I know about meth is from Breaking Bad.
It was not a propane.
I don't know.
Anyways, there was 10 propane tanks that was thrown into the ground, into the hole, and they decided to blow it up. But I'm just like, as they're toting all these up the hill, and I'm like, do they need that many propane tanks for a meth lab? I don't want to look this up.
I will say that it would be harder to blow something up if the propane is not on the propane tanks.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So it would have to be like open and flowing.
You would have to, cause he did do that. I don't know if he did it for all. I think they ended up with 10 out of the 12 or something.
Well, once you get one to blow up, you're fine.
Yeah, he turned them on and then went up. But I'm just like, dang, am I in the wrong? Like, you know, propane tank is expensive. Anyways, but
listen, I don't know nothing about no drugs.
Well, but also they were out in, like, they were in some of the houses that the church or the cult lived in, and they didn't have any running water.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have any, like, electricity, so I wonder if that's part of it too. Like, they needed one for the lights.
Probably, yeah.
You know, but who knows? But yeah, I was thinking that one. I was like, why are there so many propane tanks here? It cannot just be for the plot. But then I was like, I don't know how many it takes to make meth. I don't know.
I don't know how to cook meth.
Apparently, a lot of propane tanks.
Apparently.
That was kind of interesting. I felt bad for Riley because, like, the girl that he liked, was like,
which happened to be my name, which is like, no.
Oh, come on. Well,
this was not like insert your name fan fiction.
No, because I think you died. Well, yeah. Everyone that was infected kind of, when they blew it up, went bleak. They exploded themselves.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. What was your rating?
Mine's a 5.
Okay.
Are we gonna have a situation like last week?
Mine's a 2. Only because of that lull. Like, I just made the connection, shush. That, you know, like, it was supposed to give you that false sense of security. Like, I didn't understand that. And I'm like, God, this is boring. Like, you could have done without this, but I think it makes sense now.
Yeah.
So if I had to change my rating, which I'm not going to, I can't do that because then I'm going to change them all willy-nilly.
All of them all the time?
Yes. Which I maybe could make a case for changing it. I would probably give it a 3. It was really descriptive. Like, it was really good. There was just some parts where I'm just like, I don't care about these characters. But then at the end, I understood why. I guess I just didn't have the emotional investment in the characters like I did Jack. Because he's, like, the main character.
Yeah.
So I was like, I don't really care that you're a waitress. Cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't make the connections. Yeah.
That's fine.
I know.
It's still a 5-star for me.
No, it's totally fine.
Because I love horror anyways. But when you throw religious horror, like religious cult horror, and little monsters from the deep.
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
kind of zombies. Kind of.
Yeah, kind of, yeah. Yeah. But I just felt like a lot of... I just was, like, so bored of it in the beginning. Not in the beginning, because it talks about, you know, the cult, and the backstory, but just, like, the Jack and his trauma.
Getting to know
And
everybody.
I'm like, oh, I don't need... Yes.
You have to have character development.
I know, okay? I'm impatient. I know all books can be bam, 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 bam. I get that. But yes, it made sense with this type of book to have that boring part, as you say, or that lull of false sense of security. Because I'm like, this doesn't seem like a horror book. Like, I got it. It could be considered horror from the cult. Like, I was like, okay. But I was literally like, okay, when? When now? And that's the only reason, but after finishing it, it makes sense. But yeah, I was just kind of bored with it in the middle there.
Yeah. One thing I will say, I hate that his last name starts with a K. Because when you are a horror author and your name starts with a K, the only person you're going to find is Stephen King. Like.
Okay. So, Rachel hates K names? No, I get what you're saying, though. Yeah.
Because you go to the horror section, you're like, oh, I want to find this author. He's almost never in bookstores, by the way. You usually have to order his stuff.
Yes, we know you like very
obscure things.
Obscure things.
But you go to the horror section and you look at the K's and it goes Stephen King, and that is like 6 shelves at least.
Yes.
And then there's a tiny bit where it's not Stephen King, and then it goes to Dean Koontz.
Oh yeah, Dean Koontz. Yes. Yes. Okay. I get it. I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Like, cut.
Yeah.
At this point, Stephen King should just have his own section. Like, that's the Stephen King section.
Yeah.
Like the James Patterson section.
Yeah. I agree with that. 100%. I get it. What was your scary score with this one?
I'm gonna give it a 4.
Okay. I'm with you there.
Because it's not as scary as it could be.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not on my, like, the scariest it could be, which is stuff to do with dogs. But that...
Yes. It was just very descriptive, especially with, like, the things coming out of orifices. That's kind of like, but also you have that fear of the shadow guy, like the shadow person that you really can't destroy per se. Kind of.
Well, you can't get rid of him, really.
No.
Like, once you're in a paranormal situation...
Yeah, good luck. I feel for you.
That's why we don't mess with Ouija boards in this house.
Yes.
Or period. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I agree. No, you don't invite things in you don't want.
Yeah.
Moving on. Moving on up. Okay. So that was Devil's Creek by Todd Keisling. I tried. Okay. So our next book is our fantasy pick, and it's Bloodlines by Rochelle Mead.
Which is one of her favorites.
Yes.
And then the week after that is No Fear by Tate James. Neither of us have read this one.
Mm-hmm.
Tate James is one of my favorite authors, though. So that's where our favorites come in on this one.
Yes.
And we get to meet her in August.
Yes. And I think this is her newest book.
Yes.
Yes. So we got to read it because we got to. So hopefully it's good.
Yes. And then next month, our theme is award-winning.
Yes.
Books. And then we have a bonus episode, which will have a couple authors.
Yes. We're gonna save it for later, so tune back in next month.
Yeah.
Well, actually, next episode.
Yeah.
We're gonna discuss the next episode. Anyways, just come back. Gosh.
Yeah. Follow us on Facebook.
Yes. Instagram. Anything. Podbean. podcast.
Anything pod
related.
related.
We will convert you. All right. Until next time.
Bye.